Blizzard just implemented some changes that, while I wouldn't say they are huge, I would say they are very weird, especially on the targeting. Like, who are they planning to mess with doing this? So I figured we would talk about it. Phase 4 had a mechanic very similar from Cataclysm, where after you would end up the encounter, your cooldowns would reset. Now, it is not clear if it was intended or not. I think most people didn't even know it was there, and most people did not even care. I also find it very hard for people to say that they didn't like this thing in the game anyway, but regardless, I like why is this like a big deal for speedrunners? Why is this video the way it is? This is a list of all the abilities that will reset after you kill a boss in Molten Core. You have the Shaman cooldown for Ghost Wolves, you have Icy Beams, you have Portal of Summoning. That's kinda odd. That is definitely like, this is probably proof that it wasn't intended. You have Berserk for Feral Druids, Ancestral Guidance from Shamans, Hendo Sacrifice for the Prot Paladin, Avenging Rat, the Wings, the DPS cooldown, once again, Dispersion, the Threat cooldown, Homunculi, the super important armor reduction cooldown, Eye of the Void, another cooldown for Shadow Priest, Pain Suppression, a super vital cooldown for Healing Priest to protect the tank, the Shadow Priest for generating mana after the pull, and then Rage Generation, which is whatever. Now, those abilities, they are all at most 5 minutes worth of cooldown. It is very unlikely, even in a very competent and well-organized guild, that you're gonna be pulling bosses 5 minutes to 5 minutes back to back, especially consider that you're gonna be burning the cooldowns earlier, like in the middle of the fight, so we're talking like maybe 3 minutes. There is only one type of people where this affects them, and that is speedrunners. Speedrunners are the only people that are gonna be pulling bosses back to back at that speed or very similar speed. And it is them in particular that I have sympathy for, not because I am one of them, I have no interest in speedrunning ever, but rather because this will break the leaderboards. Very simply, now we have the rankings on Molten Core and they were all made before this change. As you can see, the current world record is 38 minutes. I got to see this 44-minute one live actually. I thought it was pretty insane already, but look at that guy, they are 6 minutes under. But at this point, if you take a cheers the current record, because that's the guy they are trying to beat from now on, there is 11 bosses in Molten Core. Without taking into account the time that it takes to kill the boss, they are pulling a boss every 2.72 minutes. Or 2 minutes and 40 seconds. If it weren't for this mechanic that resets cooldowns, their priests would never have Shadow Fiend, they would never have Pain Suppression, they would never have Homunculi, and in turn that would either slow down their raids significantly, or they would have to be more cautious about it because they do not have the same cooldowns, and of course that would also slow them down. Now, I do not know what Warcraft Logs is gonna do about it. Warcraft Logs is not the only website that hosts the leaderboards, by the way, so that's a whole nother can of worms, but some of these cooldowns are very important, and getting an uptime of every single boss for them is huge for a speedrun where they are on the edge of wiping the whole time. Keep in mind, guys, the reason that a speedrun is so competitive and so fast is because they get rid of all the safety features. They are barely enough healing, they have barely enough tank mitigation on it. Everything goes to damage. That's the way you beat a speedrun. So from now on, August 16 onwards, every speedrunner is gonna be at a massive disadvantage to everybody that did a speedrun before. And that is probably going to mean that Cheers is going to have a massive advantage and this record is gonna stand for a long time. I think resetting the cooldown of Homunculi and Shadow Fiend is way more valuable for a speedrun than a little more gear, because you could say, well, they are gonna get more gear later on and that's gonna make it faster. I do not think it comes close. As a matter of fact, I think bar some new technique being discovered or polished or improved, some significant improvement to the way people approach Molten Core, this is gonna stand forever. And that just sucks. Now, I know it is not a big deal for you, and it is not a big deal for me. What I do know is this matters a lot for some people, that community in particular, and this is hurting them for no good reason, because who cares if you get a reset on your Homunculi after you kill the boss? As a matter of fact, I think people kinda like it. I don't think people would hate the idea of getting their cooldowns reset every boss. I think that would make it a lot more fun to do Molten Core. That's just me, perhaps. It's that way in retail and nobody complains. So that's why I think this change is very weird. Not because I think it is awful, not because I think it is a big deal, because it's not, but because what do you gain by doing this? Who are you helping? Who are you improving the game for doing this? You're only making the game worse for a small amount of people and benefiting nobody else from it. If there was something that made speedrunning a lot better but made everybody else's gameplay worse, of course I would say remove it, change it, but in this case they are not hurting anybody. Why do you really not want them to speedrun the game? It is really odd. I don't know, that just might be some food for thought on Classic Plus. Maybe we should have a cooldown reset mechanic in Classic Plus like this. I think that would be cool. Maybe that's gonna be for another episode of the podcast. We did a podcast with 5 YouTubers on it, by the way. Hammerdance, No Hit Jerome, Ebon Hart, and Hello J Telo. You should check it out, it's on the live section of the channel. Well, whatever, it's not a big deal, I just thought it was a little odd. There is also a little bug fix here. Your extra crit from Fire Blast is not gonna count towards combustion, so if you had combustion and Fire Blast effect at the same time, you're not gonna lose the same charge. They are gonna burn separately, so that should be a little quality of life for the mage. It was something avoidable, it wasn't something that they had to struggle with, because like, since they knew this would happen, they would time the Fire Blast and the combustion separately, so that's it. I know that seems like a reasonable change. I do not have strong feelings why one way or the other on that one. But I do have a very strong feeling about the people that do not subscribe, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.